Good afternoon, everybody. From Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, we bid you welcome to Reds baseball. The Reds and the Dodgers close out the three-game series here today, and, of course, the final game of the six-game road trip for the Reds. It has been, well, highly profitable up to this point. The Reds have won 4 of the 5 after having the three-game win streak snapped by the Dodgers 3-1 on Friday night. Cincinnati came from behind yesterday, tying it up in the 8th inning on a base hit by George Foster, and then in the 9th against rookie left-hander Steve Howe, the double by Ron Oster that got Johnny Bench in with a winning run. So the Reds begin play today in a virtual tie for first place with the Astros in the National League West as they send out right-hander Mario Soto against Dodgers right-hander Bobby Welsh. And we'll be back to take a look at the starting lineups in just a moment.
Batting 7th, number 15.
If you're ready now, the starting lineups this afternoon. First for the Cincinnati Reds, leading off and playing center field will be Dave Collins. Batting second at third base, Ray Knight. Hitting third, the right fielder, Ken Griffey. Batting fourth in left field, George Foster. Hitting number 5, Danny Dreesen at first base. Batting sixth and doing the catching, Joe Nolan. Dave Concepcion will play shortstop and bat number 7. Hitting eighth at second base, Ron Oster. And batting ninth and pitching for the Reds, right-hander Mario Soto. Again for Cincinnati, it's Collins in center field, Knight at third base, and Griffey in right field. Foster in left, Dreesen at first base, Nolan catching. With Concepcion at short, Oster at second, and Soto on the mound. For the Dodgers, to lead it off at second base, Darrell Thomas. Billy Russell stop will bat in the number 2 spot. Hitting third in center field, Pedro Guerrero. Batting fourth at first base, Steve Garvey. Hitting number 5, left fielder Dusty Baker. Batting sixth at third base, Ron Cey. Rick Mundy will be in right field and bat number 7 for the Dodgers. Hitting eighth and doing the catching, Steve Yeager. And batting ninth, the pitcher, right-hander Bob Welch. Again for Los Angeles, it's Thomas at second base, Russell at shortstop, and Guerrero in center field. Garvey at first, Baker in left field, Cey at third base. On the bottom third again, we'll have Mundy in right, Yeager catching, and Welch pitching. Well, this will be the 24th start of the year for Bob Welch. He's 10 wins and 7 losses with a .338 earned run average. As Joe mentioned, he's been having his problems since the All-Star break. Not nearly the dominant and imposing young man on the mound that he was prior to the 3-day All-Star break last month, but still one of the mainstays in this Dodger pitching rotation. 10 wins, 7 losses, and a .338 earned run average. Trying for his second victory of the season against Cincinnati. He pitched against the Reds very, very well. In his one time, that was on the 3rd of June here when he beat them 5-1. Welsh giving up 6 hits and a run in 7 2/3 innings. It was a game that the Reds had opportunities against him early when he had control troubles but could not cash in. He walked 6 in the game and struck out 6. So Bob has now concluded his warm-ups to Steve Yeager as the ball goes around the Dodgers infield, and Dave Collins heads toward the plate to kick it off here. Dave batting .297, 2 home runs, 25 runs batted in. Had a couple of base hits in yesterday's Cincinnati victory, including a run scored after leading off the 8th inning with a base hit against Steve Howe. He scored the tying run on Foster's 2-out wrong field single to right. Collins batting .326 against Dodger pitching here in 1980. And has been batting at a .406 clip in the last 8 games. Welsh delivers. A pitch is swung on and fouled off third and out of play. And this game is underway. Welch has a winning record in his career, brief career, though it might be, against Cincinnati with 2 wins and a loss. Collins takes a fastball high. The count evens at 1 ball, 1 strike. Collins, Knight, and Griffey here in the top half of the first inning. Welch not one to waste time between pitches, brings it back, and he's low with a pitch, 2 balls and a strike. Defensively for Los Angeles, they've got Garvey at first, Thomas at second, Cey at third, Russell at shortstop, and the outfield from left to right, Baker, Guerrero, and Mundy, and Yeager catching. Welsh sights a sign, he kicks and he throws, and Collins swings and fouls another one off to level the count at 2-2. Now, Davey Lopes, the only Dodger regular not in the lineup. All the rest of them have been starters in all 3 games of the series. Count evens at 2-2, and the payoff, the break-even pitch is up high to run the count full on Dave Collins at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Another very pleasant day for baseball here in Los Angeles. The high temperature yesterday was only 77 degrees. Here's a foul back. And they expect it to peak somewhere in the low 80s today. Collins trying to get on to start off the Cincinnati first inning. Fouls off the pitch to keep it full against Bob Welch at 3-2. Right-hander back, and he's up with a fastball. And Collins is on with a leadoff walk. Our plate umpire is Harry Wendelstadt. Harry Gregg, Frank Pulley, and Dutch Rennert around the bases at first, second, and third. Steve Garvey standing in behind him out talking with Welch as Ray Knight steps to the plate. Ray batting .277, 11 home runs, and he continues to lead the club in runs batted in with 65. Was 0 for 3, but had a mighty important eighth-inning sacrifice yesterday as Welch throws on to first, and had a couple of base hits in the series opener here Friday night. Quick throw to first, Collins back. Collins' third-ranking base stealer in the National League as Welch continues to play catch with Steve Garvey. Davey has stolen 57 bases in 71 attempts, and against the Dodgers this season has gone 7 of 9. 7 steals in 9 attempts. The Ray Knight has yet to see a pitch after Welch walks Collins, has thrown 3 times over to Garvey, trying to keep him close. Here's Welch with a stretch in the pitch, and Knight swings and rockets one back onto the screen. Foul ball. This is the 12th meeting of the year between the two clubs. Dodgers have won 6. Cincinnati has won 5. Well, you can't get much closer than that as Welch deals to Garvey again. And for the most part, they've been fairly close ball games. Throwing to first, safe. Welch out in front of Knight. 1, no balls and a strike. Collins takes the lead. Here's a pitch. Knight swings and another foul. This one over the screen and back into the seats to run the count to 2 strikes. Harry Wendelstadt getting a new supply of baseballs. Dodger outfield playing Knight just about straight away. Mundy shading him a bit toward the alley in right center out in right field. Baker straight away in left, and Guerrero straight away in center. Welch checks off on the mound. He continues to be concerned with Dave Collins. Working to Knight, pitches down low, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes on the Reds' third baseman. Knight in his one confrontation this season against Welch went hitless and 4 times to the plate. Throw to first again. Collins had 2 hits in that first game against Welch back in June, but he was the only Reds player to have more than 1. High throw to first. Collins back. Welch has thrown over there now about 7 times. Trying to keep Collins as close as he possibly can. He's ahead on Ray Knight. The pitch swung on, and a high foul ball will drop well back of the Cincinnati dugout, first base side. Also, Jerry Royce came out of the gate like a whirlwind and pretty much pitched that way, and Royce has continued to pitch extremely well, as his 14-4 record would indicate. Throw to first, out. They got him. Bob Welch continued to throw to first base and finally picked him off. And Dave Collins is not happy with the Harry Gregg call, and neither is manager John McNamara. McNamara trying to restrain Dave to keep him from getting the old heave-ho, but he's really giving it to Harry Gregg. McNamara getting between Collins and Gregg as Ron Plaza, the Reds' first base coach, listens in, but Welch repeatedly throwing to first base, and finally it paid off for him.
Marty, the thing about it, Ron hasn't said a word, and apparently Plaz agrees, but Mac's still there talking with Harry Gregg, so big odds for the Dodgers.
Well, Bob Welch, who was fighting a war on 2 fronts, can now direct his full attention to the man at the plate, Ray Knight. John McNamara heading back into the dugout and pointing a finger at Dave Collins as if to say, hey, settle down. We need you the rest of the way today. We don't want you to get thrown out of here. Collins still down at the far end of the dugout, however. Here's a pitch tonight, another foul back. As far as records are concerned, the Reds playing in game number 118 with a record of 63-54. Dodgers in game number 117 with a record of 62 wins and 54 defeats. Knight checks his swing on an off-speed pitch. It's too low, and it's 2-2. We have seen some outstanding pitching, not only in this series, but on the entire road trip from both sides. Check swing foul back, actually into the fourth deck, off the first base foul line to keep the count even on Knight. San Diego, 3 straight one-run games, all won by the Reds. The Dodgers behind Jerry Royce, besting Tom Seaver and the Reds 3-1 on Friday night, and a 3-2 game Cincinnati yesterday. Knight swings and hits one into right center field. Monday will make the catch. That ball was coming back in toward Rick Mundy as he broke into the alley in right center and ran it down. So with 2 out and the bases empty, the batter will be right fielder Ken Griffey. Ken batting .296 with 8 homers and 63 RBIs. The last few days, he's been in a bit of a slump. In fact, is looking for his first hit in this series against Dodgers pitching. Batting average under 300 for the first time in a while. Griffey takes a fastball strike call. Strike 2 is at the knees on the outside part of the plate. Still with 63 RBIs, that's the second highest total in Ken Griffey's major league career. In fact, the Reds have 5 on their team with 50 or more runs batted in, and nobody else in the National League can make that claim. Swing and a miss. Struck him out with a fastball up and in. For the Reds in the first, no runs, no hits. Nobody left on after a half inning of play. Reds nothing, Dodgers coming up. Here's a payoff pitch. Danny takes ball 4. Second walk allowed by Bob Welch. That brings to the plate Joe Nolan. If you're driving in the downtown Cincinnati area this afternoon, we'll remind you that the Red Stadium ticket office will be open until 5:30. Stop by and pick up your tickets for the upcoming homestand that starts tomorrow night. So here in the second, Foster is homer to left center. Dreesen gets a walk, and now Yeager's out talking to his pitcher. Second base on balls allowed by Welch. Joe Nolan continuing to do the job in royal fashion. He's hit safely in 11 out of his last 12 games, batting .457. 16 hits and 35 times up and 10 RBIs. Takes a strike. On the year, batting .327. Checking with third base coach Russ Nixon after looking at a strike from Bob Welch. Danny Dreesen stationed at first base, a run in, nobody out. Pause in the pitch. Inside and low, 1 ball and 1 strike. There's a throw to first as Dreesen steps back. Welch picked off Dave Collins in the first inning after repeatedly throwing over there. There goes the runner. Pitch is swung on and missed. Throw down to second base. It goes into center field. Danny Dreesen gets up and will come on to third standing. Throwing error against Steve Yeager. Danny Dreesen picks up his 16th stolen base of the season and moves all the way to third. So the Reds now have a chance to go out in front. That is the first Dodger error in this series. In fact, it's the first error for either club. That's how well played it's been. Nolan behind. 1 ball, 2 strikes with Dave Concepcion on deck. Welch now goes from the windup. He sends it in, and Nolan swings and fouls it away. Reds and the Dodgers even up in the second at a run apiece. Welch glances to third where Dreesen leads, pitches to Nolan, and misses with it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two and 2 the count on Joe Nolan. Nobody out, runner at third. Pitch, Swung on, fly ball back into right field, hit pretty well. Rick Mundy now moving back and under to make the catch. Danny Dreesen tags and will come out of the plate, and the Reds lead it by a score of 2-1. Well, Joe Nolan getting a pitch he could drive, and that he does to fairly deep right field to easily score Dreesen from third, and Joe picks up his 21st RBI. One away in the inning with 2 runs now in for Dave Concepcion, hitting .245. Davey looks at a strike. Well, the Reds will be going home to meet the Cardinals and the Pirates and the Chicago Cubs in an 8-game homestand. The Dodgers will be going on the road. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dodgers will have an off day tomorrow and then open up a 3-game series in Montreal on Tuesday. Here's a line drive in the left field, and base hit falls in front of Dusty Baker. Davey with a frozen rope to left. Here's Ronnie Oster, the young man who had his second game-winning RBI, and both coming on this road trip. Had the 3-run home run Tuesday night to beat San Diego late, and had the 9th-inning bloop double in the shallow left center field that got Johnny Bench home with a 3rd run for Cincinnati in a 3-2 final. Oster hitting .301. Welsh pitches. Oster takes strike 1.
Marty, you look at the schedules, the 3 ball clubs, and you see the Astros will be at home with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I have a homestand with the Pirates, Cubs, and that's it.
In there for a call, strike 2. Now the Dodgers will be in Montreal for 3 ball games. Then they go to New York over next weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then play 3 in Philadelphia. Oster takes it low and inside for a ball, and there are 3 clubs that, well, as far as this season is concerned, the Dodgers have not fared too well against. In fact, the Dodgers have not been a real good road club. Away from home record of 24 wins and 35 defeats. Oster takes strike 3. That's the second strikeout for Bob Welch. 2-out hitter will be pitcher Mario Soto. Dodgers have won 2 and lost 4 against New York. They've gone 1-4 against Philadelphia. Have played pretty well against Montreal. Have won 4 of the 5 games against that team. Soto swings and misses. Hey, it'll be cause for celebration when this young man gets a hit. He's 0 for 27 this season. Time momentarily called as Bob Welch ties his right shoelace. Reds have scored 2 times in the inning. George Foster hit a leadoff home run. Danny Dreesen walked, stole second, and went to third on Yeager's throwing error. And Nolan brought him in with a sacrifice fly to right. Concepcion singled. Oster struck out, and Soto swings and misses to put the count at 2 strikes. Welch dealing. Soto swings. Ground ball off the fist to shortstop. Billy Russell will flip on to Darryl Thomas. In the inning for the Reds, 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 error, 1 left. After an inning and a half, the Reds 2 and the Dodgers 1. Welch has had 10 hits this season, so he is by no means an automatic out. 3 of the 10 have been doubles. 196 batter, 10 for 51, and is yet to pick up an RBI. Welch looking to third base coach Danny Ozark, and now Ray Knight, Dave Concepcion come in a bit, as well as Danny Dreesen at first base. Ronnie Oster laying back a bit at second. Here's a pitch to Welch, and it's low and outside, ball 1. Soto back to the wind. Welch takes a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Would you squeeze in this situation, Joe?
I wouldn't think so, not at this particular time, although you don't know, but I wouldn't think so.
1-1 to count as pitcher faces pitcher with the bases loaded. Welch with a check swing foul ball. It ends up rolling along the third baseline where it's picked up by Ray Knight. Soto pitching himself into trouble, giving up a double and walking 2, and now trying to pitch himself out of it. Has gotten Yeager on a fly to shallow right, and is ahead on Bobby Welsh, a ball, 2 strikes. Pitch, strike 3 call. First strikeout for Mario Soto, and with 2 out, it'll be the Dodgers leadoff batter, second baseman Darryl Thomas. Thomas walked, stole a base, and scored the L.A. run in the first. Don't forget the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Cubs on the homestand starting at Riverfront tomorrow night, while next month the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Astros will be in as the race really heats up in the National League West. Be on hand. Bases were loaded with nobody out. The bases are loaded now with 2 out. Thomas takes a strike. Soto bringing it. Thomas taking strike 2. Darryl hitting .256 from the left side of the plate, far better than his .184 batting average as a right-handed hitter, and has hit in 5 straight games. Up and away for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dodgers scored once in the first. Reds got 2 in the top of the second, one of them on George Foster's 17th homer of the year, and the tiebreaker came on a sacrifice fly by Joe Nolan. Soto winds, kicks, and fires. Thomas swings, and he misses. He struck him out, and Soto gets the job done. After the Dodgers had loaded him up, he got Yeager on the fly to shallow right and strikes out Welsh and Thomas. No runs, 1 hit, 3 left. And after 2 complete, the Reds 2 and the Dodgers 1.
That'll bring Ray Knight to the plate. Ray 1 for 3. Fly ball to Mundy in right center in the first, single to center in the third, and hit into a double play to end the 5th inning. Throw over to first, and Collins steps back. Dave, as we said, picked off in the first inning. Another throw over there, and again Collins is back. Knight out of the batter's box, now back in. Ken Griffey on deck. Welsh sets and delivers. Knight takes low and make it on the knees on the inside corner. Called strike. On 1 to count to Ray Knight as Wallace goes to the rosin bag. Over to first, and Collins back. Walsh again throws to first, and again Collins steps back. Bobby Castillo throwing in the Dodger bullpen as Yeager calls for the pitch out. Nothing going on. Count evens 1-1. Outfield straight away to Ray. Go again to first, and Collins back standing. Welsh to the belt, delivers. Collins goes. The pitch is swung on, hit into right center field. Guerrero cannot get to it. It bounces away from him. On his way to third is Collins, and we have him on the corners with 1 out, and Ken Griffey the batter. A ball hitting in front of Guerrero, and he's lucky to keep it in front of him. Collins moves to third. Knight with his second hit of the game, and Ken Griffey the batter. 7 hits now for the Reds, and Tommy Lasorda out of the Dodger dugout walking toward the mound, and we'll see what Tom has in mind. We mentioned Bobby Castillo throwing in the Dodger bullpen, a right-hander. All right, Castillo ready to work to Ken Griffey. His first pitch on the way, and Griff swings and misses a screwball. And he 0 for 3. Now walks away from the plate. Reds with Ray Knight at first base. Dave Collins at third. The Dodger infield double play depth. Castillo to the plate. That's a very weak swing by Griffey, and the count quickly 0-2. So 2 screwballs to Kenny, and he hasn't made contact on either. Steele out in front. George Foster on deck. Steele to the belt. Delivers. Screwball, check swing, and a slow ball. Look at Dutch Renner at the third base umpire, and Dutch says no. A ball, 2 strikes to Griffey. And he started off with Soto striking out. Collins singled to left center, and then Knight singled to right center. The pitch. That's just high, and the count evens 2-2. The Reds with a golden opportunity to jump back out in front here in the inning. 2-2 delivery. Griffey swings and lines it foul down the right field line. Reds have stranded 6 base runners. The Dodgers have stranded 6 also. Steele again the stretch. Steps back off the pitching upper now. Again the stretch. The 2-2. Screwball misses outside. Full count to Ken Griffey. So Castillo, after being no balls, 2 strikes to Griffey, he's gone full. Let's see what Ray Knight will be doing. Ray asking for a sign from Russ Nixon at third base. Let's see if Ray is on the move. Castillo the stretch and the pitch. Griffey checks, and that's ball 4, and the bases are loaded for George Foster. Kenny able to stop his swing, and the pitch outside, so Castillo walks the first batter he faces, and he'll be facing George Foster with Collins at third, Knight at second, and Griffey at first. George 2 for 3. It is 17th home run of the year in the second inning, and he doubled in the 6th. Reds with a big opportunity here. 1 out, bases loaded. Steele waiting on the sign from Yeager. He'll work from the stretch. He sets and delivers to Foster, and George swings and misses. 0-1. Danny Dreesen on deck. Collins third, Knight second, Griffey at first. 1 away, 0-1 the count to Foster. Castillo to the belt, and the pitch. George takes it low, and it's even. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. All 3 games here with the Dodgers. Boy, keep you right on the edge of your seat. Foster out of the batter's box, now steps back in. Steele has the sign. He delivers the 1-1. Foster takes ball 2 outside. 2-1 the count now to Foster. Now the pitcher throwing down in the Dodger bullpen. It could be Steve Howe or Rick Sutcliffe. A ball, 2 balls to strike to Foster. Steele, the stretch. And the 2-1. That's inside, and it goes 3 balls to strike to George. Now, if Castillo doesn't retire Foster, we'll probably see Steve Howe. We would assume that's who's throwing, simply because 2 left-handed batters due up next, Dreesen and Joe Nolan. Steele was 0-2 with Ken Griffey before walking him to load the bases, and now he's 3 balls to strike with Foster. Steele to the belt. He delivers a 3-1. That's high and inside. Ball 4, and The Reds take a 3-2 lead. Well, back-to-back walks produce a run for us. For Foster, his 64th RBI of the year as Collins scores, and Danny Dreesen the batter. A base hit right now would certainly make things a lot nicer. That run charged to Bob Welsh. Tom Lasorda still in the Dodger dugout. Steele scheduled to lead off the inning for the Dodgers when they bat. A stretch by Castile, the pitch to Dreesen, and Danny looks at a strike. The 0-1, Dreesen checks, and it's high and outside a ball. A screw ball, 1-1. Now Rick Sutcliffe is throwing along with Steve Howe. 1-1 pitch. Dreesen swings and hits it into right field well. Going back, Rick Moniz on the warning track, hauls it in, and tagging is Ray Knight. He scores on to third. Griffey as he tags to second. The Reds lead it 4-2. Danny Dreesen, his 60th RBI of the year, a sacrifice fly as Ray Knight scores from third, and Ken Griffey tags and moves on to third base. Close things out now on Bob Welsh. He worked 6 in the third innings, allowing 7 hits, striking out 6, walking 4 runs, and all of them earned. Now here's Joe Nolan with 2 out. I think Danny got jammed on that pitch just a little bit. Nevertheless, we got another run. The Reds leading 4-2, and the pitch to Joe Nolan. He swings and bounces it foul off the first baseline. 0-1. Outfield straight away to Nolan. Joe 0 for 2. He has driven in a run. In the second inning, he got our second run home with a sacrifice fly to right. Steele delivers. Nolan swings, ground ball by Garvey in the right field, a base hit, and another big hit for Joe Nolan as Ken Griffey scores, and it's a 5-2 ball game.
Pitch. Too low, ball 1. Up and in, 2-0. There's a call strike. Steve Garvey on deck as Russell has flied to right to begin the inning. Guerrero waiting on Humes 2-1. Tommy starts into the windup, and just as he was set to release a pitch to the plate, Guerrero backed away, calling a quick time with Harry Wendelstedt. Now the pitch. Strike 2 call. Bad handle, foul back. Well, Hume has appeared in all 3 games of this series. And 4 out of 6 on the road trip. Another foul keeps Guerrero alive with a holding count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Outfield shading the right-handed batter to pull. And he pops it up off of first base. Danny Dreesen long-legging it over to the far end of the Reds dugout and makes the catch. Out number 2. That'll bring up Steve Garvey, who has single and scored in 4 trips to the plate. Dodgers down to their final out. Garvey drops the head of the bat on the plate, now picks it up. And a pitch. Strike call outside corner. Not been a good series for Steve Garvey, and this is a man who has hit Reds pitching in his career at around a .345 clip, but that single he's had today is his only hit in this series. He bounces to the box. Hume has it, runs toward first, flips to Dreesen, and this one belongs to the Reds. Boy, what a road trip for the Reds as they win 5 out of 6, including 2 out of 3 here in Los Angeles after losing the opening game of the series here on Friday night. And the final score in this one, Cincinnati 6 and Los Angeles 2. We'll be back in just a moment. Well, for the second time in as many days, the Dodgers scored in the first inning, only to see the Reds come back and win it. And today was a little bit easier victory for John McNamara's ball club than the one-run win 3-2 was yesterday. Dodgers got that run in the first off Mario Soto when Darrell Thomas walked, stole second, moved to third on a Bill Russell sacrifice bunt, and scored on Pedro Guerrero's fly ball to center. But the Dodger lead proved to be short-lived because the Reds came back in the second inning. George Foster led off with a home run, his 17th to tie it. Danny Dreesen walked, stole second, moved to third on Yeager's throwing error, and scored the tiebreaker on a Joe Nolan sacrifice fly. In the bottom of the second inning, the Dodgers loaded the bases with nobody out, but missed a golden opportunity because Soto got Yeager on a fly to shallow right and proceeded to strike out Bob Welsh and Darrell Thomas to leave the bases loaded. L.A., however, tied it up in the sixth inning with one out. Steve Garvey singled to right for what proved to be his only hit on the weekend. 1 out later, Ron Cey doubled down the left field line, scoring Garvey, who was moving on the pitch, and the Dodgers had drawn even at 2-2. In the seventh inning, the Reds sent 8 batters to the plate, going out in front to stay with 1 out, a hit by Collins, a base hit by Ray Knight. Ken Griffey got a walk against new pitcher Bobby Castillo to load him up, and Foster drew the walk with the bases loaded against Castillo to break the tie and send the Reds out in front 3-2. Danny Dreesen delivered a 4th run home with a fly to right. Joe Nolan singled to right, knocking in another run. Cincinnati led it 5-2. Reds got their final run of the 9th inning off Rick Sutcliffe on a bases-loaded walk to Ronnie Oster. Soto went into the 7th inning, or into the 8th inning rather, before issuing back-to-back 1-out walks to Ron Cey and Rick Mundy. And at that point, John McNamara brought on Tommy Hume for the 3rd straight game, and Tommy Hume got the job done as he has been doing for so long now, working an inning and 2/3, giving up a base hit, recording a strikeout, and in that 8th inning, he left the bases loaded when he got Darrell Thomas with a fly ball to left field, and then retired the Dodgers in order in the 9th. Cincinnati had 6 runs, 11 base hits, no errors, and left 12. The Dodgers had 2 runs, 6 hits, committed 1 error. They left 11. Soto got the victory. He's now 7-5. Hume the save, number 21. And the loser, Bob Welsh, 10 wins and 8 defeats. The Reds make it 5 out of 6 on the road trip and now go home to begin an 8-game homestand. The St. Louis Cardinals will be in for the first of 3 at 8:05 tomorrow night. Charlie Lebrand, with a record of 10-7, will pitch for the Reds, and the Cardinals will counter with right-hander Bob Forsch. We'll be on the air with the pregame shows on most of these same stations tomorrow night, beginning at 7:35 Cincinnati time. Again, the final score today in a game that took 3 hours and 19 minutes to play before a crowd of 48,677. The Reds 6 and the Dodgers 2.